So much has gotten better in America. Our environment keeps getting cleaner, despite what you hear. We live longer than ever. We've become more prosperous. Even poor people have. Will more good things keep happening under President Trump? Well, he promises he'll help more kids escape horrible government schools.
We will rescue kids from failing schools by helping their parents send them to a safe school of their choice.
Choice would be great. I like the way he said choice. But it's not really under his control. Education's mostly run by local governments. And many places, in spite of resistance from teachers' unions and stuck-in-their-ways bureaucrats, some better alternatives have emerged. Some charter schools have raised kids' test scores.
High test scores made these charters so popular that parents line up, hoping to get their kids admitted.
This line goes on and on.
What's sad is that there is a line. 1 million kids are on waiting lists to get into charters in America. That's because governments put limits on the number of charters. On Election Day, Massachusetts rejected a plan to increase the number of charter schools. Why would they do that? Well, let's ask the editor of the website The 74, which covers arguments about education and school choice. That's Campbell Brown.
Well, hey there, John. I guess you're right. It doesn't make a lot of sense. And I think if you took politics out of the equation, it would have passed.
What do you mean politics out of the equation? What happened in Massachusetts that stopped? I would think they'd want more kids to have these good things.
Charter schools are not union schools. So the teachers' unions
have
have
the most money fighting this thing, telling people in the suburbs, this will wreck your kids. It'll take money from your kids' school to help poor kids.
That's exactly right. So it's been a political fight. But I would say overall, charters have really exploded in growth, largely because parents are demanding it. You mentioned the charter waitlist in your intro. I mean, in New York, there are 44,000 people on waitlist. In Los Angeles, it's over 100,000. So with waitlists like that, it's hard to imagine that this is a snowball that they're going to be able to stop rolling.
But they did stop it in Massachusetts, and don't the unions have a point? If there's a pot of money and some goes to the charter school, the public school has less. Well, they're all public schools. The government school has less.
That's true, but not in this case. There was funding, in the way that the legislation was written in Massachusetts, there was funding that would go to schools that lost students who then moved to a charter school. So the argument that it was going to take money away from wealthier schools was just false. It was false advertising. But
it won.
You can see how that would be a very effective argument with voters.
Here in New York, in Harlem, one woman created charter schools called Success Academies. The kids in her schools get above average test scores, some way above average. You do this all with the same money the public schools get?
We actually do it with less.
The school day here is longer. Kids often stay till 5 p.m. Charter teachers can be asked to work more than the union would have allowed. They told us they don't mind.
But you're going to burn out. Why aren't you ticked off?
That's not an option for us because we kind of have our eye on the prize with these kids.
These teachers work harder, work longer. The kids do much better. Thousands of kids waiting to get in, and the bureaucracy opposes it.
Full disclosure, John, I serve on the board of Success Academies. I do think that's a very special charter school network. The top 5 schools in New York are Success Academy charters. You would hope that the traditional public schools would look at what they're doing and why they're achieving these kind of results and learn from it and begin to apply that in the traditional environment. They're just not doing it.
Well, I suppose they feel the competition and maybe they're improving a little too.
Well, that's what you hope. There have actually been some studies done that show that when schools are co-located with a high-performing charter, it improves the school that's actually co-located with it.
But they don't like it. They don't like being shown up.
Again, and Success Academies, the example you gave, they share their lesson plans, and we've had people from all over the world come and tour these schools and visit them.
Another reason it's important to give kids an alternative to the government monopoly is that horrible teachers, even teachers who hurt kids, don't get fired.
This former police investigator says it takes years to fire even an abusive teacher.
Lots of people said he hit kids. The kids said it.
Lots of people said he hit him, and other teachers said it that were present in the classroom. It took me 4 years, $283,000, $127,000 in legal fees, plus what it costs to have a substitute fill in him, all while he's sitting home having popcorn.
He's sitting home having popcorn because they finally took him out of the classroom, but they had to keep paying him because union protection makes it almost impossible to get rid of even a dangerous teacher. And even where there are no unions, civil service protection makes teachers almost unfireable. Principals often joke about something called the dance of the lemons. That's when they transfer bad teachers that they can't fire to other schools.
You fire people at your schools.
They should be fired.
You fired a teacher after 1 day?
She was incompetent.
That's Ben Chavis. He's an American Indian who ran a charter school in Oakland, California, called the American Indian Public Charter School.
Here at American Indian, they pay some kids to tutor other kids.
We hire our students and we pay them.
Thank you.
They're excited. They're going to make some money.
The kids at American Indian schools now have some of the highest test scores in California.
And you could do that on the same amount the state gives every school?
We get less.
That's what so amazes me, Campbell, that these charters usually get less money. They aren't a miracle, but on average, they're doing as well or better.
It's less about the money, John, than it is to have the flexibility to try new ideas and figure out what works for different student populations, because every kid's not the same. Everything's not going to work for every child. So we need a variety. We need entrepreneurs. If we don't allow these charters to grow and experiment and innovate, to be able to teach kids differently and prepare them for this new world, it's a massive failure on our part.
And they are growing, but it's pathetic. It's less than 10% of the kids now, right?
Absolutely. And I do think you want to give some, credit to other ideas that are being tried. Tax credit scholarship programs in places like Florida that has 100,000 kids using tax credits to send their kids to private schools.
So am I just politically naive? Because I thought, take the school that you're associated with, Success Academies. When Mom saw that Johnny down the street looked forward to going to school, liked learning, was getting top grades, getting into good colleges, that she would demand it for her child, and within a couple years we'd have choice almost everywhere. And it's been 15 years.
She is demanding it for her child, which is why these wait lists are crazy. They're so long. But to use New York as an example, where you have a mayor who is very much in sync with the teachers' unions for political reasons, he's not going to do anything. It's a constant battle given the politics of this issue, and it's why things have moved so slowly.